I want to ask you a weird question about, I mean, you guys had this great show, it was a hit show, but it's the first time there's been a big wrestling show in Chicago since All In where there hasn't been CM Punk chants, even though he was part of the weekend. Was that a concern going in that the fans might want him on the show? And how do you feel kind of coming out of it that didn't even come up?
I think it's great. I think we have really respectful fans, and I think everybody made it really clear that he wasn't going to be here, and so I don't think there was any expectation for it, and I think everybody got what they wanted to see. So I'm really happy with the show, and so I'm glad out there that wasn't what anyone's thinking about. So hopefully back here there's more about what this is the show we actually did. Thanks.
The big surprises of the night, it felt like, from the crowd reaction was Kenny losing to Pat clean. You said wins and losses matter, so what does that mean for Kenny Omega?
Well, I think Kenny's won, he's had it up and down, right? I think he, he didn't get the win against Chris in the first match, which set up the title eliminator, but then had a win at Fighter in the six-man, and then had beaten Shima at Fight for the Fallen. So now kind of evens it up a little bit, but it really says that Pac establishes him as a top player for us, and I think Pac's going to be a really important person in AEW, and that is a great start to his run here, and he's 1-0, and it's a big one, and so it puts him right in the mix, so that's really big.
Right now, sorry, I take that as he's in.
Yeah. I think I do expect Pac's gonna keep wrestling here.
Right now, it's just more light into that. You said wins and losses matter. You've said it a couple times. What does that mean moving forward? Is there a way to keep track of that, within the company?
Yeah, well, so I know you guys were all out in the crowd, so we actually did have on several of the matches records, and they were specific records, and we listed 2 records. So there was a record specific to the type of match it was. So like for singles, there was a singles record, and there was like a tag record for like tag team matches, and then for the trios match that we opened the show with, there was a trios record because SCU were 1-0 in trios so we have singles records, tag records, and trios records. Then we have like overall records when applicable. For different people. For example, Cody was it said he was 1-0-1 in singles because he had the win against Dustin and then the draw against Darby, right? And then but he also had the tag loss, so that's why his overall record was 1-1-1, but his singles was 1-0-1. So yeah, we've started to establish it more like a sport. I think does that make sense? Yeah. Great.
Tony, who stood out to you talent-wise, some of the younger talent on the card that maybe people weren't too aware of, but who stood out to you a little bit more, just on this show in particular, anyone
I thought Private Party did a great job in the opener, and then it's not Jack's been around forever. Jack Evans has been around forever, but I think this is going to be the best showcase for Jack Evans and Angelico, and I thought they did a great job in their match. In the women's Battle Royale, I was really proud of the women in the Casino Battle Royale, and I thought so many people did a great job there, and I was really proud of that. Across the show, I mean, there were really top performances across the board. I mean, Hangman is a young man and came in the main event, and I thought that was a really, really tremendous main event we had. So I was also really proud of that, considering he's going to have a really long career ahead of him too. So it was a great performance from him, even though he's not the first AEW World Champion.
We saw Arn Anderson tonight. Is there any chance we'll see more of him in AEW?
I never say never. He did a great job, and that was a huge pop for that. And I was really excited about that, and I'm not surprised that it got a great reaction. And I'd love to see more of him. That'd be great.
Does Tony stay with Spears long term?
I think I expect he will. Yeah, I think the expectation is those guys are going to be together. It seems like it. Yeah, I think so.
Any update on the status of Kylie Rae? She's been a little bit absent.
She's no longer with us. We had so many things going into so many announcements going into the Battle Royal, but she asked for a release and we granted it. So she called me and asked if she could be released from her contract, and it was pretty simple. I said yeah, and I asked her if everything was okay, and she said yeah. She didn't want to be with the company anymore, and we talked about it, and it was very simple. And so yeah, she's not on our roster.
Seemed amicable.
Super amicable. She's a very nice person.
Now it's just called AEW on TNT right now. Are you planning on giving this show a name? Or?
Yeah, we had I wanted to go all out and focus on that before we start. Everyone's aware we have a show launching on TNT, and I think it was a big part of the build-up this summer that people knew there's a show on TNT coming, and that's why people want to get invested now, because this is going to become a huge part of people's lives, watching wrestling on TNT for a couple hours every Wednesday night. And so that's why I think a lot of people have invested themselves in the AEW as a company, AEW, the wrestlers and the storylines, and that's so yeah, absolutely. I do think it's a huge part of it. Do you anything else pertaining to that?
I was just wondering if you could maybe I didn't know if you were going to tell us today, but it's
I'm not going to not tonight, but there's going to be a name for the show. It's not going to be All Elite Wrestling, because I think it would be confusing between the company and the name of the show. So we won't call it, the name of the show will not be All Elite Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
No, sure, it's great. Yeah, perfectly good question.
Tony.
Hey, AJ.
Whenever Pac didn't fight Kenny yet, and he was still at 0 wins, 0 losses, someone said that he was an undefeated beast. Can you say that's true if they have not done a match yet?
Untested. They're unbeaten. Yeah. I mean, he hadn't been beaten here. Yeah. So yeah, I guess you can. Technically, yeah. But I put the graphic up. I made the call to put that up just because I thought it would say this is just established. This is a fresh start for him, and we'll see where he comes in. And it was obviously a really huge way to debut. So I thought I would emphasize it, if that makes sense. Cool.
Tony, you mentioned in the past how the World Championships design was inspired by previous world titles. We saw the Women's Championship.
North America.
Right. We saw the Women's title get debuted tonight. Was that design inspired by any previous championship?
It was, honestly, I didn't spend, I had the input on that. I think the design with the rose gold, and it was trying to do something different than what anybody's done. That was probably not as much inspired by, or I think the idea with our other championship is mass, and this one was trying to do something that nobody had really done, and a beautiful rose gold pattern. It was not my idea, but it came off great, and I thought it looks really good.
Tony, did you have any idea that Cody was going to bring you out at the end of the show? And what did it mean to speak to the sold out?
Of course I knew.
What did it mean to
I have a pretty good idea what's going to happen in general.
What did it mean to speak to the sold out crowd here tonight?
I was looking forward to it. It's something I really wanted to do because I'm from Illinois, and I grew up here in Illinois, and I lived here all my life until my family bought the Jags, and I had never spent more than a couple weeks at a time out of Illinois in my entire life until I was probably about 28 years old. And so to be back here, I've been to a lot of wrestling shows in Illinois, and my family, like I said, we spend the holidays here, and it means a lot to me to be able to be back here, and I just wanted to let people know it's a tradition. I want to keep the tradition of All Out, here in the Chicago area, and also the tradition of coming back here to the Sears Center. I think I really believe there's going to be a lot of people that want to come see a wrestling show in the suburbs here on Thanksgiving Eve. There's a lot of people in the suburbs on the night before Thanksgiving, so November 27th, I just wanted to let people know, and I also wanted to thank people. I didn't come out to get thanked. I'm not surprised, but I also wanted to tell people, I don't feel like I deserve any thanks or anything, because I'm the happiest person here, and I feel like I'm just happy that everybody else is happy, and it was really great to see such a really jacked crowd. And I was here a year ago, and the crowd was really pumped, and it was a lot of the same faces, so it was cool.
Tony, as well as all the up-and-comers that we've had in AEW, there's been a great use of legends tonight. We saw that in the Casino Battle Royale, the Cody and Shawn Spears match. Is that something you guys would like to do on the TV show, is kind of bring legends in and have them work with younger people? Because we don't see that as much in a good way.
I mean, I think we have a great crop of stars in the ring now, and the bell-to-bell product's the most important thing here. We want to emphasize the wrestling matches, and we try to have a lot of great wrestling matches, and that's why we had a couple great wrestling matches in the buy-in with the Casino Battle Royale and the tag team match, and then we had 8 great wrestling matches on the pay-per-view. And I think similar to Double or Nothing, I think there was one last match. We had the title presentation, and to your point, Bret Hart was involved in that. And so we have tried to incorporate legends, really to emphasize the importance of the things we're doing when the situation's right in the major moments, but it's when the time is right, And I think the emphasis has to be on the wrestling product that we're trying to deliver right now, and that's why I think as your opening question, I think we have a really respectful crowd that really respects that we want to give them great wrestling every time out. Every time we do a show, we put a lot of thought into it, and we do as the group sitting together put a lot of thought into the wrestling we're going to give you every week.
So you have 4 shows in now, but the real game is going to start in October, now going head to head with NXT, of course. So how do you look back at the first couple of months running the company? Any regrets, or how confident are you now with going weekly and going against Triple H's promotion?
I feel really, really good. I feel very good. And going in about a year ago at this time, I would say that we've it's kind of checked a lot of boxes. I'm so far very happy with how we've done to get through the summer. About a year ago at this time, I expected there would be a company like AEW, and I expected we would have done show Double or Nothing, and we would have done All Out, and I would have expected Fight for the Fallen. Fighter Fest is something that came to us later, but I expected a summer pretty similar to what we've done. I'm really pleased. I had very high expectations for Double or Nothing, but honestly we did a little even better than I expected, and it was such a great success both commercially and critically, and I expect our TV show will be a great success also. I'm mindful of the fact that from a creative standpoint, from a writing standpoint, it is like a more difficult thing to do to write a television show with commercial breaks, and I spent a lot of time preparing for that, and I'm really well prepared to do that. And I think we've written a lot of great shows, and we're going to have a lot more great shows every week. So I'm excited about it. It's something, if you'd asked me a year ago at this same time here in Schaumburg, I would have said, like, I was excited about it then, so you can imagine how excited I am now. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether it was going to be October 1 or October 2, but pretty much a year ago I expected this was all going to be happening like it's happening. It's just a little better than I expected.
And are you planning being at every TV because you are also running a football club and on another continent?
Yeah, I am. And I'm back and forth, and so I am planning to be there, and I'm planning to do what I've been doing in timing shows and sitting in the gorilla. So yeah, I will expect to be going back and forth.
I just want to follow up fast. You said October 1 or 2. Were you contemplating Tuesday night instead of Wednesday night? And was there something?
Yeah.
What was the decision? What was the process in that decision?
The process in that decision was those were really good nights for the wrestling fan that would be that would not be competing with the most popular show on television, which is the National Football League. The vast majority of the top 100 shows, like over 90 out of the top 100 shows, are NFL games in this country in America. Like I think it's about 47 of the top 50 most watched shows, and almost all of the top 20, maybe 24 of the top 25. So maybe if not 20 to 23, 24 of the top 25. So I don't want to go against the NFL on Monday night or Thursday night or Sunday night because I am a part of the NFL.
But the first would have been a Tuesday night. Were you not considering Tuesday instead of Wednesday night?
Yeah, but then we ended up partnering with TNT, and Tuesday was the NBA's on Tuesday. There's a pre-existing commitment, and so it wasn't for our TV. I didn't know a year ago who my TV partner was going to be in, so I knew that wherever we were, I'd really like to do a weekly television show and give wrestling fans that in their week again, where you get 2 hours of live, high quality wrestling, really higher production values than have ever been available. But the state of the art, it's been a long time since the state of the art production values, top wrestlers, a top promotion. And I was here a year ago and it was a great show, but like, you know, you can have a great game, but it's another thing to have a great league. Like the NFL, again, like the Super Bowl, we're part of the greatest brand, the greatest game in the world, but without all the league and the season and the playoffs behind it, you know, makes it that much more important. So that's what my thinking on it, on where we're at.
Tony, the wins and losses, when we talk about that, is there going to be something that ends like a season finale with these guys with the best record, or is this going to be something that's cumulative?
I think we're going to look at like record year to year, like kind of throughout a calendar year, but I also think like you're going to keep an overall record, and it's always going to live the same as would in any other sport. Like your record is, but you know, certainly people go on runs. You know, Manny Pacquiao lost some fights early in his career, and then went on a run, and then he lost some fights, and then he has gone on another run. So you never know.
So will there be like a championship opportunity for the guy with the best record at the end of the year? Would there be a playoffs? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, we have some exciting announcements. I think the big focus going into TV right now, obviously with Crown, I'm really excited that Chris Jericho, you know, is now, we've established that between Chris and Hangman, who's going to be the champion is Chris. And now going into TV, I think the big focus for us is going to be you know, on TV one, we've got a huge women's title match now. Nyla Rose, I thought, like, Nyla Rose is already a big star. I think Nyla Rose has already proven Nyla Rose is a big star, but like put a lot of thought into that. And Nyla Rose, if you didn't consider Nyla Rose a star before, I think you should now. And Nyla Rose versus Rio and Shida was awesome. And I've talked a lot to you guys, like individually and collectively, about the fact that I believe in Joshi, and I think that with the platform we have now, we can introduce a lot of fans, both here in America and worldwide, to some of the great Japanese women's wrestlers. And it's a style that like people really love and want to embrace, similar to almost 25 years ago, 24 years ago, when Nitro launched and Lucha Libre became more prevalent on American television. And I think similarly, the Joshi wrestlers have been great. And you know, Shida and Rio, I give them a ton of credit. Yuka Sakazaki's come in and done some great things also. So we have some really exciting things. But Nyla Rose and Riho, I think, for the title is a huge focus for us on the first show, in addition to the matches we've announced, Cody versus Sammy and the Sixer, with, you know, Chris and the Mystery Partners against the Young Bucks and Kenny. And so TV2, we start the playoffs for the tag team. So when you talk about playoffs, yeah, the tag team playoffs start week 2, and they're going to go out, and we've announced the semifinals will be in Pittsburgh, and the finals will be in Charleston, West Virginia, week 4, week 5. So across week 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to see some great tag matches, starting with Young Bucks against Private Party. And, you know, Young Bucks had a tough night tonight, but I thought it was a great showing. And Private Party, I thought, you know, again, another great night for them. So,
with TV comes advertising. Have you had good luck finding the advertisers?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a chant for Cracker Barrel tonight, and that was pretty good. You can get a chant for the advertiser, and we actually had a great. I'll put some photos on social media later, but we had a great party a couple days ago for a lot of the sponsors, potential sponsors, and our partners at Warner Media, and a lot of the advertising partners that are out there. And yeah, we're going to really pound the pavement. We do the same thing in football, both here and in England, and I really believe in it, giving the sponsor everything for their dollar. I thought Cracker Barrel was a great relationship because we got a lot out of it too. Both they took great care of us. We were compensated, but we were financially, but they also compensated us with the best catering you'll ever get for a pay-per-view. Again, Cracker Barrel, the food was great. So
you were talking about the women's division. You actually brought some very good, talented women here tonight. Mercedes Martinez, Priscilla Kelly, Shaza McKenzie, Nicole Savoy, just to name a few. Any of them you'd like to sign full-time with AEW?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people on the roster right now, and right now one of the challenges we're all going to face, and again, it's something I'm going to have to come to grips with as we're coming in with content, is look, I don't want to oversaturate the market with content, but the fact is on a 2-hour show, we're already on tonight, on a pay-per-view, a 4-hour pay-per-view with a 1-hour pre-show, you still don't see, there's still some very important people on the roster who still are not wrestling on the show necessarily every week, and so with a 2-hour TV show, you're not going to see everybody every week necessarily. So I do want to make sure everyone's getting time right now, and there are people I really care. This was the first time Penelope Ford's wrestled, for example, and I wanted to get Penelope Ford in sooner, but we have a lot of people we're trying to get to, and she did a great job. But even though she wasn't in the match as long as she would have liked to be, but she did well when she was in there and did some great stuff. So everyone you named is great. I really like every single woman you named there, and I think all of them could potentially be in line to come back here.
Tony, you mentioned...
So let me get AJ real quick, because I always like to get AJ early because you guys can stay late. I don't want to keep him up all night. I'll stay for you guys all night.
You were talking about only Wednesday and Tuesday. What about Saturday? Is the reason why you're not doing on Saturday?
We do our pay-per-views on Saturday, so we do shows on Saturday. So you've been to a few of them now. So this is one of our pay-per-view nights. So I can't do the TV the night of the pay-per-view because then it would be, what do you do the night of the TV? So I like to, and also it's really good to have a weeknight. I believe in a weeknight primetime show. People come home like I used to do. People come home from school, come home from work at night. And it's like an important part of your week. It really does become, and my whole life it's been. But Saturday, we're going to do shows on Saturday too. So hopefully I'll see you on a lot more Saturdays over the years.
So I mean, like maybe we don't do the TVs on the week of the shows. Maybe we just.
You could do it. I mean, people have, here's the thing. So when people have traditionally had there have been pay-per-view, people have done pay-per-views on Sundays and they've had Sunday shows, and that particular show, it's usually not their A show. It's usually their B show, and usually they'd either turn it into a countdown show, which you could turn your show into a countdown show, but we'd have to start it really early. It's just, I can explain it to you later, but there's probably a lot of reasons why. Wednesday was a really good night for us to land, so it was something I always would have liked to have had, so it's good. And doing the pay-per-views on Saturday is what I wanted to do too, so it's all working out good.
We've seen referees in AEW have more tendencies and individual characteristics than other companies. Is that a concentrated effort or just kind of?
No, I mean they have personalities, and I let them do the. I mean, we talk about stuff, and people, and I think everyone gets to showcase with it, their personalities, and we have a lot of belief in all the people here, not just the wrestlers, and everyone backstage, and in the referees too, and they do a great job. So I thought our referees did an awesome job. I was really proud of the way they did, and I think why wouldn't you want everybody on your show to have a great personality?
I'm sure you see that a lot in your other lines of work too, referees that can influence the outcome of a game.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's and there's a little more entertainment here to the other football in England, both in the NFL. So the referee can maybe have a little more flair and personality here than you'd want in another sport. But yeah, I think it's great, and I'm really glad our referees did such a good job. And I thought it was a really fun show, and I was really glad Aubrey delivered not just refereed a great match, but also it was a great moment. Her presentation of the championship, I thought, added a lot of prestige to what was already a very prestigious moment.
You've famously been a fan, obviously, of wrestling all your life. Did you get a chance today to take a step back as a fan and mark out, so to speak, Brendan?
No, I can't really do that. I mean, I'm at work, and same as been growing up going to football my whole life too in Illinois. I've been going to the University of Illinois games as long as I can remember, both football and basketball, and I love them. And now I work in football every weekend in front of huge stadium crowds, and I can't really. Every once in a while you soak it up, and I really soaked it up. I did really appreciate once we were off the air, being in the ring. It was really nice, and seeing my mom, because it's only the second show my mom's ever been to. The first show she'd ever been to was Fight for the Fallen, and I've been a wrestling fan for well over 29 years, close to 30 years, and I've never gotten to her show, and now I've gotten her to 2, and she's loved it, so it's great. That's probably the best.
As far as
sorry, you were just sorry. I'll come right back there.
All right, okay. Tony, you've shown a commitment to diversity in your tag team and women's divisions. With the end of this match and Jericho being crowned champion, when are we going to see more wrestlers of color in the men's title division?
I think you are going to see some wrestlers of color in the men's title division. It is something that is absolutely really important to me, and we have some wrestlers that are absolutely going to contend. And you know, I don't want to tip my hand on that necessarily, who's going to be in like contention, but I think you will see. I promise you, by the end of the year, that you will see that you know, I am committed to diversity and doing some exciting things to establish some new stars, both in the singles and tag division, and getting some diversity into those roles. And you'll see, and I'm going to do it in a way that you won't remember that we had this conversation, because it'll be really good. And I'm not forcing it, because I'm not doing it because I'm trying to be more diverse. I'm doing it because like there are people on this roster that do deserve the push, and we've identified them, and now's the time to push those people. But I don't want to tell you who and when and where, because why would you want that?